All right, let's get right into it. There's a huge geopolitical storm brewing in the Horn of Africa. And seriously, the stakes could not be higher. We're talking about water, we're talking about power, and we're talking about the fate of entire nations. So yeah, let's dive in. So get this. What if a world leader, a guy who won the Nobel Peace Prize, was secretly mapping out an escape plan? It sounds like something out of a movie, right? But that is the incredible claim floating around intelligence circles about Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. It sounds totally wild, I know, but it really gets to the absolute heart of the insane pressure he is under. The big question is, how did it ever get to this point? So you have Abiy Ahmed, this Nobel laureate, and his entire power base is just crumbling around him. The guy is basically trapped in a perfect storm of crises. He's got enemies right at his doorstep and full-on rebellion kicking off inside his own country. To really understand what's happening to him, we need to look at what's going on inside Ethiopia. I want you to imagine a building, with deep cracks forming in the foundation, the walls are buckling under all this pressure. Well, that's pretty much Ethiopia today, a nation that is right on the verge of collapse. And this isn't just one single crisis, it's like a hydra-headed monster. You've got the Amhara region, a place with a long history of political power where armed groups are picking up weapons again. Then, over in the Ogaden region, different Somali factions are now teaming up, demanding their own state. And of course, in Oromia and Tigray, the embers from recent really brutal conflicts are still glowing hot. The Ethiopian military is being stretched in every single direction, to its absolute breaking point. But the pressure isn't just military, it's economic. And this is where it gets really dire. Imagine the entire economy of a country flows through just one single artery. Now imagine that artery gets cut. That's what's happened to Ethiopia. This number you see here, 95%, that's how much of its trade flows through one route to Djibouti. And that route, it's been severed. For a country with no coastline, this is basically a death sentence. It's like a boa constrictor is tightening its grip, just slowly squeezing the life out of the entire Ethiopian economy. And you know what happens when a nation gets weak, right? Its rivals start circling. Now, all this internal chaos, it has definitely not gone unnoticed. In fact, it's triggered a massive shift outside the country. We're talking about the United States, a huge player in the region, and it's starting to hedge its bets. And that changes the entire power dynamic in the Horn of Africa. What you're looking at here is pretty much the diplomatic equivalent of a massive earthquake. The US, which was once a really solid ally of Ethiopia, is now throwing its weight behind Egypt. And this isn't just some small adjustment, it's a complete 180 in American foreign policy. And it's happening over the single most critical issue there is, the Nile River. And if you need any more proof, just listen to this. This is a direct quote from Egypt's President Sisi, and he's publicly thanking the US for its support on the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Now, this dam, the Jerd, it's a massive hydroelectric project. For Ethiopia, it's a symbol of national pride, their ticket to a better future. But for Egypt, which gets like 97% of its water from the Nile, it's an existential threat. So when the US publicly takes Egypt's side on this, that's a devastating blow to Ethiopia. So with Ethiopia on its knees at home and basically alone on the world stage, Egypt is pouncing. And it's sending a message that is absolutely impossible to ignore, a message written in the language of pure military power. And here is that message. Meet the Rafale F-4. It's a state-of-the-art fighter jet that can pretty much do it all. This thing is a beast. It can dogfight, it can drop bombs, it can do reconnaissance. It's a true multi-role aircraft, and Egypt is buying 30 of them from France. Now, this isn't just a shopping trip. It's a strategic move designed to completely shift the military balance of power in the region. So why is the Rafale F-4 such a game changer? Well, it all comes down to one number, 3,700 kilometers. That's its maximum operational range. And when you look at a map of the region, you'll see exactly why that number should be terrifying for Ethiopia. Because with a range of 3,700 kilometers, these jets can take off from an airbase in Egypt, fly all the way to Ethiopia, bomb the Grand Renaissance Dam, and fly back without even needing to refuel. The message is crystal clear. The dam, that symbol of all of Ethiopia's hopes and dreams, is now a sitting duck. What you're seeing here is a textbook move, okay? It's called strategic deterrence. It's kind of like a gunslinger walking into a saloon with a bigger gun than everyone else. He doesn't have to fire a single shot. The fact that he could is enough to make everyone else think twice. That's exactly what Egypt is doing with these Rafale jets. It's changing the entire calculation of power. But hang on. This whole Rafale deal, it's not just about Ethiopia. It's a signal to the entire region that Egypt is back in the game, and this time it's playing for keeps. And speaking of power plays, let's talk about this really mysterious incident that happened recently in the Mediterranean. An Egyptian warship sailed right into a restricted naval zone off the coast of Gaza, a zone that has been totally off limits for over a decade. The Israeli Navy fired warning shots and the Egyptian ship turned back. So, what was that all about? A simple mistake or something more? Let's just put this into perspective for a second. This naval zone has been closed by Israel since 2006. For more than 15 years, nobody, and I mean nobody, dared to cross that line. Then, just out of the blue, an Egyptian warship sails right in. This wasn't some minor oopsie. It was a bold, brazen act of defiance. And according to U.S. intelligence, reported by the national interests, this was no accident. The analysis completely rules out a navigational error. The Egyptians knew exactly what they were doing. They were sending a message to Israel, to Hamas, to the entire region. We see you, we're watching you, and we are not afraid to flex our muscles. So what does this all add up to? The Rafale jets, the diplomatic games, this weird naval incident, they're all pieces of the same puzzle. And when you put them all together, you see a picture of a resurgent Egypt, a sleeping giant that has finally woken up, and it's making it crystal clear to everyone around that it will not be trifled with. So where does this all go from here? You've got a weakened Ethiopia, a resurgent Egypt, and a superpower playing both sides. Is this just the new reality in the Horn of Africa? A region where might makes right, and the fate of millions of people just hangs in the balance? That's the question we're all left with.